The pregnant widow moved into the house no one wanted, and the floor revealed what everyone tried to hide. I know this sounds impossible, but I swear every detail I'm about to share happened exactly as I'm telling you in Ridgewood, Alabama, during the summer of 2018. Before I continue this true supernatural account, subscribe to hear the full story that forever changed my understanding of life and death. Shadows slithered across the creaking floorboards, whispering distorted echoes of grief that tugged at my heart. Each night, the darkness seemed to wrap around me, its cold breath curling up my spine, while the air thickened with a suffocating chill that left icy fingerprints on my skin. The distinct scent of rotting wood mingled with that of fresh wildflowers, even though none bloomed within miles, creating an eerie contradiction that was hard to ignore. Every time I descended into the darkened basement, dread filled my mouth with a metallic tang, as if my body instinctively knew something sinister awaited just beyond my awareness. Terrified and newly alone, with my husband lost to a car accident and a baby growing within me, this forsaken house represented our only chance at survival. But the atmosphere weighed heavily upon my shoulders, a dark fog that seemed intent on suffocating my spirit. What should have been a sanctuary felt more like a tomb, filled with whispers of a past I was not privy to. In those stifling moments, I would lie awake, staring at the ceiling, my pulse racing in rhythm with the silence. It began with my son's nightmares. Just shy of 5, he would wake up screaming, his eyes wide with terror, trembling as he clutched at frost burns appearing on his arms. The more he cried, the more pitiless the shadows seemed, closing in around him like a raging storm. I would rush to his side, desperate to offer comfort, while an unshakable fear curled tightly in my stomach, a vine of dread spiraling out of control. "It's just a dream, sweetie," I would whisper softly, even as my heart questioned my own words, replaying my grandmother's old tales in my head. Those oppressive nights led to fragments of memory surfacing from long-buried family legends, whispered softly in my grandmother's shadow. Her warnings rang clear in my mind, echoing with the weight of history. Never trust what lies beneath the surface. It often hides unimaginable sorrow. I recalled her eerie tales of landowners and forgotten plantations, of whispers carried by the wind, ancestral spirits trapped beneath the soil. I knew there was something ominous in the house, something ancient pressing against the walls, lingering just beyond the periphery of my understanding. If you've ever felt a presence watching you from an empty corner, I shared with my friends one evening, trying to find solace, you know the chill that ran through my body that night. Yet they laughed kindly, dismissing my fears out of concern for my fragile state. They insisted I should focus on healing. Yet their laughter rang like a hollow bell against my fraying nerves, each dismissive word further entrenching me in my anxiety and isolation. Finally, I gathered the courage to confront what I felt was an unknown entity within our home. With a mounting dread, I stepped toward the basement door, my heartbeat echoing in my ears. It felt as though time had slowed, each second heavy with uncertainty as I hesitated, poised to turn away, the familiar lure of the Nile calling me back. But then I heard my son's small voice whispering from behind me, "Mommy, the lady in the wall wants to speak." My breath caught in my throat, and for a heartbeat, everything paused around me, the darkness itself holding its breath. I turned to him, and chills skittered down my spine. It was as though the shadows had shifted, a decision hanging thick in the air between us. Would they allow me entrance or turn me away? Summoning all the strength I had, I steeled myself and finally asked aloud the question that had been scratching at the back of my mind. "What do you want from us?" The air around me crackled with an energy so thick it felt tangible, a jolt of electricity sparking across the room. That's when the faint but chilling voice beckoned me, drifting up from the basement, under the floor. My mind reeled at the revelation, a wave of dread washing over me, but I could no longer ignore the call. With a mix of fear and determination, I grasped the door handle and felt the vibrations of time pressing against it, as if history itself was urging me to act. As my fingers curled around the worn metal, the world around me dimmed and blurred into insignificance. I tugged cautiously on the door, the old wood creaking in protest, and with trembling hands, I began to peel back the loose floorboards, uncovering a chilling truth that lurked within. What I discovered would challenge every understanding I had of love, loss, and the lingering shadows that haunt the spaces we dare to inhabit. As I pried up the loose floorboards, my heart raced, every crunch of wood beneath my fingers resonating through the suffocating silence of the basement. Layer after layer peeled away, revealing a hidden compartment that had languished in shadow for years, perhaps decades. A rush of stale air escaped from the void beneath, carrying with it a scent so acrid and sharp that I recoiled, my stomach twisting in response. It was the unmistakable odor of damp earth mingled with an unsettling hint of decay. And yet, there was something more, a bitter undertone, a ghostly whisper of lives once lived. I hesitated, a chilling tremor running through my body. Glancing back at my son, I found him watching me, wide-eyed and filled with a blend of fear and innocence that pricked at my conscience. "Mommy, are you okay?" he asked, his small voice trembling with concern. I swallowed hard, forcing a smile despite the tightness in my chest. "I'm fine, sweetheart. We're just uncovering some old things, okay?" His reaction was immediate. The boy's gaze drifted toward the gap I had exposed, and fear flickered in his eyes. "Maybe we should go back upstairs," he suggested, his innocent nature sensing the deep-rooted unease swelling in the air. I brushed the hair from his forehead, my heart aching for his innocence in a world that seemed all too ready to turn dark. "Just a little longer, love. I need to see what's here." With a deep inhale, I plunged my hands into the darkness beneath the floor. It was not just history I was seeking. It was the truth that might shed some light on the unexplainable terror prowling within our home. As my fingers sifted through the brittle paper and the remains of forgotten remnants, I found something, the edge of a leather-bound journal, worn and weathered as if it held years of untold stories and buried grief. Pulling it from its resting place, I felt an electric jolt, and an involuntary shiver coursed through me. The journal was warm to the touch, an unsettling warmth that mingled with the frigid surroundings of the basement as though it had been holding on to life. I brushed the dust away, revealing the initials embossed on the cover, E.V. My breath caught in my throat, and I closed my eyes tightly, envisioning the woman whose stories I was about to unearth. "Mommy, what's that?" my son asked curiously, inching closer, yet warily maintaining a safe distance from the abyss. "Is it a treasure?" He had always had an uncanny knack for romanticizing the unremarkable, and I couldn't help but let a small smile creep onto my lips. "I think it might be a story, maybe even a secret." I opened the journal. The pages yellowed and fragile, and I felt as if I were pirating into someone else's life, each word a whispered plea for attention. The first entry detailed a love story, a young woman named Evelyn who had taken refuge on this land during the tumultuous time of the Civil War. Her words painted vivid images of desperation, hiding, and the fear of loss that had once gripped these walls. The anguish with which she wrote seeped into my soul, every sentence laden with a sense of urgency that reflected my own feelings of motherhood and loss. "Mommy, It feels cold. My son protested as he edged closer to my side, pulling me out of the whirlpool of emotions swirling around the tales of lost love and fractured hearts. I sensed an impending heaviness, one that flowed from deeper within the house, resonating with the journal's sorrow. "What if it's haunted?" he whispered, the truth dawning on him as he clung to my leg. I glanced at him, wanting to reassure him, but at that moment, a shadow flickered just outside the edge of my vision, darting toward the stairs. My heart leapt into my throat, terror gripping me. "Stay right here, okay?" I instructed, keeping my voice firm even while panic clawed at my throat. The air in the room had changed again, thick and tinged with an indiscernible tension that made the hairs on my neck stand on end. The journal fell open again, as if inviting me to delve deeper into its tragic secrets. My fingers brushed against the next pages, and a map tumbled out, a hand-drawn outline of the property. A red X marked a spot just outside the house, near the ancient oak tree that stood sentinel over the yard. Why had they hidden these truths? I could almost hear Evelyn's cries for help echoing through time, desperate for someone to listen. I had just begun to connect the dots when a loud rustling noise came from the basement corner, sending icy chills racing down my spine. "Did you hear that?" I whispered, turning to my son, who was wide-eyed, clutching my hand tightly. He nodded, fear gripping his small features. Before I could act, the shadows coiled closer, wrapping around us like a tempest, and I felt the weight of unfinished business crash over me. Something had been awakened. What lingered in this house was not simply the ghost of Evelyn, but a collective grief trapped by time, yearning to be released. "What do you want?" I found myself shouting into the darkness, my voice trembling despite my efforts to sound authoritative. In response, the air shifted dramatically, thickening with heavy sorrow and an unanswered question that clawed at my very essence. "Help us," a voice drifted from within the depths of the shadows, and in that moment I realized what had been haunting me was not just a reflection of fear, but a longing for healing and recognition. We were bound together by an intricate web of past and present, a tragic story begging to be told. I stood mesmerized, the shadows thickening into a blur around our tiny corner of the basement, pulling me into their depths. I felt the weight of their sadness pressing down, enveloping me like a suffocating fog. My heartbeat thudded against my ribcage, a primal response to the unshakable reality of the supernatural entity that lingered in this house. I knew deep down that we could no longer ignore the call for help. It was as though the very air held its breath, awaiting my next move. "Help us," the voice had said again, and I felt it reverberate through me, the desperation laced within each word. It was not merely a request. It was a plea for understanding, a desire for validation from someone who had suffered much like I was suffering now. This house, once a sanctuary, was now a paradox of comfort and anguish, intertwining our fates in a way I could never have anticipated. "Mommy, I'm scared," my son whimpered, drawing me back to reality. I cast a quick, reassuring glance down at him, plastering on a smile that I desperately hoped would mask my own terror. "So am I, my love. But we need to be brave. Let's find out what they want together." As I turned my focus back to the journal, the chill in the air swirled around us, slicing straight to my bones. I took a deep breath, my resolve solidifying. "Evelyn, is that you?" I called out, an audible tremor in my voice that I could not contain, as I felt the journal thrum with some unexplainable energy in my hands. "What do you need from us? How can we help you?" The air shimmered slightly, a prelude to something monumental. The shadows danced momentarily, swirling around me, as if weaving a tapestry of memories that flickered in and out of existence. I closed my eyes, allowing myself to be enveloped in the sensations, the stories whispering against my skin. "Tell me your story," I pleaded. Slowly, an image began to take form in the darkness. The flickering shadows morphed into the outline of a woman, ethereal and fragile, her features characterized by lines of grief etched deep into her spectral visage. She wore a tattered dress reminiscent of the period, floating just above the floorboards with an otherworldly grace. Her eyes looked into mine, shimmering pools of sorrow, reflecting centuries of loss and longing. "Help, find," she murmured, her voice resonating with a haunting echo. It was as though her very essence was reaching toward me, guiding me deeper into the story encapsulated within these walls. I felt an impulse to reach out, to bridge the chasm between our worlds, but fear nestled within me like embers waiting to ignite. I knew that there were dark secrets buried here, secrets that could be painful, dangerous. "There's something wrong," I whispered, realizing the weight of my intuition. "Something happened to you." "I want to help you find peace, Evelyn. Just tell me what you need." The specter seemed to defer, drifting a little further away, veiling her true intentions, as if my offer plunged her deeper into doubt. I could not allow her hesitation to hold me back. Summoning the strength woven in my ancestral blood, I stepped forward, my son's small hand gripping mine. "We'll help you, I promise," I urged, my voice stronger, more resolute. A rush of vibrations pulsed through the air, and I felt the journal vibrate eagerly on my fingertips, an invitation. With renewed purpose, I turned the pages once more, my eyes scanning for clues where the past might whisper necessary wisdom. "Beneath the oak tree," I murmured softly as my thumb brushed against the red X marked on the drawn map. "That's where you want me to go, isn't it?" I glanced back at my son, whose curious eyes sparkled with a blend of apprehension and determination. "Can you feel it too?" He nodded slowly, his innocent belief in the supernatural refusing to wane. "Let's go dig it up, Mommy. We can find it together." Courage spiraled out of him, a tether pulling us closer to the heart of the mystery. With the journal clutched tightly in hand, I watched the shadows begin to recede, a faint sign of approval rippling through the air. I nodded to the specter, an unspoken promise bridging the dimensional divide. Together, we would discover the truth. We stepped carefully back towards the stairs, the shadows trailing us, alive with anticipation as we began our ascent toward the lingering threat of daylight. All the while, I remained acutely aware that every footstep was a step deeper into the unknown, a march towards revelations that could change everything I ever thought I knew about love and loss. As we emerged from the suffocating darkness of the basement into the sunlit kitchen, I took a moment to absorb the comforting warmth of the summer air rushing through the open window. "Stay close to me," I instructed, my voice steadying with every step we took toward the front door. "We need to work fast before the shadows resettle." Outside, the ancient oak tree loomed above us, its gnarled bark twisted like a body that had endured countless storms. I felt a magnetic pull toward it, an inexplicable connection weaving between me and Evelyn. She had bestowed her trust upon me, and now it was my turn to honor it, guiding my son and me toward insights buried deep within the earth. With a garden spade in hand, I knelt before the tree, embracing the truth that had woven itself through my heart. "Together," I whispered softly, turning to my son, "we'll find her peace." And with each shovelful of dirt, I felt the collective grief that had been waiting to be unearthed. The ties binding our souls growing stronger and more vibrant, signaling that we were not merely digging for secrets, but exposing the very heart of a lost story yearning to be heard. With each shovelful of dirt I tossed aside, the air around me shimmered with energy, almost vibrating with a pulse that seemed to reflect the rhythm of past sorrow and urgency. My heart raced, a whirlwind of emotions coursing through my veins, fear, determination, and an inexplicable bond that connected my existence to Evelyn's. I glanced at my son, who was kneeling beside me with wide, curious eyes, and I felt a flicker of hope ignite within me. Suddenly, the shovel struck something solid, the sound reverberating through the ground like a warning bell. I stopped in my tracks, adrenaline rushing through me. "Did you hear that, buddy?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. He nodded, his eyes gleaming with excitement and a hint of apprehension. "What is it, Mommy?" I swallowed hard, my gut tightening with uncertainty. "Let's find out." With shaking hands, I brushed away the loose dirt, feeling the rough texture of something buried beneath my fingertips. As I scraped away the earth, the object became more defined, a small, weathered box bound with rusty metal clasps. I could hardly breathe, my heart racing as I realized what I had uncovered. "Mommy, it looks like a treasure box," my son exclaimed, wonder lacing his voice, his fear momentarily forgotten. I felt exhilarated, but dread clung to me like a shadow. "I think it holds secrets, sweetheart, secrets we need to understand." With resolute urgency, I pried the lid open, the metal creaking in protest, unveiling the mystery sheltered within. Inside, nestled among frayed letters and delicate trinkets, lay a beautiful locket. The faded photographs were so worn that I could barely make out the faces, but they seemed to resemble Evelyn's image. I could feel her presence pulsating through the air around us, a guiding force ushering us through this unknown territory. As I reached for the locket, the temperature around us shifted rapidly, plunging into a frigid air that swept through the yard, erasing the summer warmth. "Mommy," my son called out, suddenly alarmed. "What's happening?" "Just hold on, love." "Stay close to me," I reassured him, gripping the locket tightly. The air was charged, vibrating with sorrow and urgency, and I could almost hear Evelyn's whispers urging me to learn the truth. I glanced down at the letters that surrounded the locket, their fragile paper barely clinging to life. One letter in particular caught my attention, addressed to Evelyn in faded ink. As I unfolded it, the trembling in my hands intensified, my heart pounding in rhythm to the words that unfolded before me. "Dearest Evelyn, I do not know if these words will ever reach you, but I must confess the horror that lies in the shadows of our past. What we have buried was never meant to be forgotten. When the sun sets and darkness envelops this land, it is your strength that has kept me alive. You must promise me that you will seek the truth, that you will never allow this pain to continue unacknowledged. Only then can your heart be free." I felt a chill creep over me as the realization sank in. This was a legacy of fear passed down through the generations, a testimony to grief left unprocessed and history left untold. "Evelyn, you were never meant to be forgotten," I murmured, understanding wrapping around my heart like a shroud. The shadows thickened once again, whispering invocations through the leaves, coiling tighter around my body until it felt difficult to breathe. "What did they do to you?" I cried out, desperate to understand the weight behind the words written in the letters. "Please, help us," the voice echoed, more urgent this time, a chorus of solemn spirits extending their hands toward me from the darkness. Unveil the truth. As I processed the enormity of the moment, my son tugged at my sleeve. "Mommy, I don't like it here. It feels sad." His voice shivered with raw honesty, making my heart ache. "I know," I said softly, taking a breath to steady myself, glancing at him with urgency mixed with love. "But we're so close to uncovering something important. You're so brave for being here with me. Will you help me?" His young courage resonated within me, fortifying my resolve. "Yes, Mommy, I'll help," he replied firmly, determination flaring within his small frame. I closed my eyes, summoning the strength to confront whatever haunted me. "What lies beneath this land?" I called into the shadows. "What do we need to know?" The ground rumbled beneath me, vibrating with an almost palpable heartbeat. A deep chill rushed through the air, swirling around us like an invisible tempest, solidifying into an apparition behind the old oak tree. Shadows merged and shifted, giving form to a figure that flickered in and out of focus. This presence emanated a sense of overwhelming grief, tangled with unresolved pain. The hair on my arms stood on end as I peered into the depths of the darkness. You wish to be freed?" I dared to ask, my voice trembling with uncertainty. As if in response, the figure began to materialize. The sad eyes of a young woman stared back at us. Evelyn herself, her visage wrapped in sorrow, but flickering with a spark of hope. With her hand, she reached toward us, beckoning us forward. Besides me, my son gasped, instinctively stepping closer. "Mommy, it's her, the lady from the wall." "Evelyn," I breathed, taking a step forward, my heart aching for her plight. "What do you need us to do?" Slowly, she turned her gaze to the locket in my hand, a faint smile tugging at the edges of her mouth. "My truth resides within," her voice whispered, intertwining with the wind. "Call to those who can listen. Set us free, and with us you will find solace." I felt a surge of clarity rush through me. This was it, the path to her release, our shared grief transcending time and space. My heart soared with determination. "Then we will share your story, Evelyn. We will unveil the truth." The shadows erupted with a sudden, overwhelming energy, swirling around us like a cyclone of emotion, drawing my son and me into their depths. I could feel the weight of centuries pressing upon my shoulders, the heavy burden of lives lost, misdeeds left unspoken, and love trapped between worlds. In that moment, I understood. We would not just be uncovering a history of pain, but a truth powerful enough to mend the fabric of our shared past. The weight of the locket felt light in my palm as light blossomed within me. With newfound urgency, I clutched my son's hand and turned to the darkness one last time. "We will uncover your truth. You will not be forgotten any longer." As I stood rooted in determination and ready to forge a new path alongside the spirit's yearning for recognition, I realized with undeniable certainty that together we would reclaim what had been lost. Together we would bring forth healing, embracing the shadows while letting the light illuminate their untold stories. The wind picked up around us, swirling leaves dancing in a frenzy, caught in a whirlwind that resonated with the intensity of our mission. I felt Evelyn's energy spike, her presence becoming an anchoring force, guiding my thoughts and actions. "Listen closely," she urged, her voice a gentle caress, yet possessing immense authority. "You must amplify our voices. Gather those who have witnessed, those who remember." "What do you mean?" I replied, the urgency of her message gripping my heart. I looked at my son, his small frame echoing unwavering bravery, standing firm at my side as if ready to charge into whatever darkness awaited us. Evelyn's gaze pierced through the uncertainties of the past. It's time for the truth to unfurl. The more who believe, the stronger we become. We can only be freed if our story is told, if it is etched into the minds of those willing to listen. A flicker of comprehension ignited within me. You want us to share your story with our community, don't you? To gather evidence and remind everyone of the lives that have walked this land. Evelyn nodded slowly, a sense of calm enveloping her ghostly form. Yes, local historians, families with histories entwined with mine. They hold the key to our liberation, pieces of the puzzle that you must piece together. I felt the shadows around us begin to ripple and pulse, almost alive beneath the swell of her urgency. Just then, a glimpse of moonlight broke through the clouds, lighting up the yard and casting an ethereal glow upon the locket. I turned it over in my palm, enchanted and determined. We can do this, Evelyn. We'll honor your memory, and we'll keep speaking until we reach the ears that need to hear. As if buoyed by her belief in us, I found a newfound strength within me. But we can't do it alone, I added, glancing at my son. Are you ready for this, sweetheart? He nodded, his expression one of fierce resolve that belied his young age. I want to help, Mommy. It's not just about the lady anymore. It's about all of them. His spirit filled me with hope, a reminder that even the smallest voices could amplify the most profound truths. Then let's go, I said, feeling the determination surge through us. Holding Evelyn's essence tightly within my heart, I turned back toward the house, ready to forge forward with purpose. The shadows parted for us, clearing a path as we made our way inside, each step echoing with the weight of generations behind us. As we returned to the warm glow of our home, I sensed a new atmosphere, a vibrant energy crackling through the air, fueling my heart with purpose. I reached for my phone, knowing there were local groups and forums dedicated to historical preservation nearby. Let's find others to help us uncover the past. With my son peering over my shoulder, we began searching through records, community archives, and local history websites. The pieces began to slide into place. The more we uncovered, the more connections I found linking Evelyn's life to those around us. Stories of ancestors who had fought during tumultuous times and families that had deep ties to the land began melding into a single narrative. Hours turned into days as we entered a transformative phase, poring over journals and tables stacked high with yellowed photographs and old records. At night, the shadows would return, threading through our home with whispers of encouragement. I felt Evelyn's presence every time. I knew she was guiding my every thought. Mommy, can we visit the old library tomorrow? My son asked one evening, his excitement filling the air. I bet they have more things about the past we can find. Absolutely, that's a brilliant idea, I replied, my heart swelling with pride. The library will definitely have stories we can uncover together. The next afternoon, we made our way to the library nestled in the heart of our small town, its nostalgic elegance radiating with whispers of centuries-long stories. My son bounced slightly on his feet, eagerly scanning the shelves and drawing me toward the archives. As we stepped into the dimly lit area filled with aging books and forgotten tales, overwhelming nostalgia swept over me, a breath of history filling my lungs. I could almost feel the presence of other seekers who had ventured here, each one searching for something lost, the very same truth Evelyn was guiding us to uncover. We need to start with newspaper archives, I suggested, guiding us toward the back room. The shelves creaked under the weight of years. The smell of aged paper wafted through the air, a sweet, soulful perfume of forgotten moments. Flipping through the yellowed pages of a local history publication, I stumbled upon a faded article, its headline reading, "The Heartbreak of Blackwood Hollow, a Legacy of Loss." My heart lurched as I scanned through the text, realizing it told tales of coal mining tragedies and families torn apart by industry greed. I felt the weight of Emily's pain, connecting her to the land even more intimately. "Mommy, look at this," my son called out, waving an old photograph. He held up a picture of a group of miners standing proudly in front of the old mining shaft. Shock jolted through my body, for one of the men bore a striking resemblance to Evelyn, and beneath the image, one familiar name was inscribed: Evelyn's brother, Thomas. I stumbled to his side, breathless, awash with discovery. "This is it, sweetheart. This is the evidence we need." Evelyn's brother might have been one of the many whose stories have been lost to time. Feverishly, we continued searching, alive with the urgency of connection. We unearthed letters written between families tied to the mining industry, stories of struggles, and tributes to the lost souls who inhabited this land. Then I felt it, the presence of something meaningful stirring within the shadows, overwhelming me with a sense of purpose. "It's happening," I whispered softly to my son, a light blooming in my chest as I understood just how intertwined our lives were with those that had come before us. Finally, we knew it was time. With what felt like an eternity of working together behind us, I decided we would host a small gathering in the town hall, inviting anyone who would listen. It was an act of courage, one I had never fully embraced before, but recently the whispers grew louder. As the day of the gathering approached, I felt both excitement and uncertainty. It was challenging, standing in front of a group of strangers, but with my son's hand in mine, I strode into the town hall, a space once filled with the voices of the living and the echoes of the lost. The room buzzed with anticipation, and as speakers began to share their stories, I felt the energy of generations come alive, illuminating our past in a brilliant tapestry. When my turn finally came, I stepped to the podium with resolve, cradling the locket close to my heart. "Thank you all for being here," I began, my voice steady even under the watchful gaze of my community. "Today, we gather not simply to remember the past, but to reclaim it." As I shared Evelyn's story, her legacy of loss and longing, the pain etched into the very soil beneath our feet, the connections I had uncovered, I felt the shadows swirling around the room, a gentle caress urging us forward. We each carry fragments of this past within us, and it is time to acknowledge the stories, the lives that shaped who we are today. My son's hand gripped mine tight, and I felt the warmth radiating from the community surrounding us. In order to heal, we must give life to their memories to ensure they are never forgotten. I raised the locket high, shimmering in the soft light. Together, let us walk these grounds, hear the whispers, and give them the peace they've long been denied. The emotion swept through the room. People began to nod, sharing murmurs of agreement, as I felt the very essence of the land standing witness. Hope blossomed in our hearts, echoing through the building like a promise. The moment marked a new beginning, a reclamation of lost truths enriched by collective resilience. Together, we vowed to tell the stories, to shine the light on the darkness that had loomed for so long. And as I gazed into the faces of my community, I knew one thing for certain: the shadows that once haunted us would heal in the warmth of our unity, and together we would give voice to those who had been silenced. As we began to embrace the past and envision a future reconciled, I could feel the light of openness pouring through, filling the spaces where sorrow had once lived. A new legacy taking shape within the hearts of those who had gathered. Together, we would honor those who had come before, bridging the divide between love and loss, one story at a time. The days that followed the meeting at the town hall became a whirlwind of emotions, overshadowed by a tangible sense of hope. Conversations sparked as people shared their own stories, many unaware of the deep connections binding their families to those who had shaped our community. Each evening, I found new letters in my mail, notes scribbled on pages torn from notebooks, accounts passed down through generations, whispers of the past longing to break free. Local historians reached out, eager to collaborate on the narrative we were building together, eager to help preserve the history that many had tried to forget. Evelyn's presence felt alive around me, a comforting touch that made me realize I was not just on this journey for myself or for the town, but for her as well. In the tranquility of night, I often found myself speaking to her as if she were right beside me. "You did this," I'd whisper, tracing my fingers over the locket that now hung from a chain around my neck, the weight of it a constant reminder of my promise to her. You are being remembered. On what felt like a pivotal afternoon, I received a call from a local newspaper. The editor explained that they were interested in covering our project, the collective effort to reclaim the past and honor those who had once been lost. "People need to hear about your story, how a community can come together to heal," she stated, her voice filled with enthusiasm. "What do I need to do?" I asked, my heart racing with both excitement and nervousness. "Just share your heart," she encouraged. "Talk about Evelyn, about your discoveries, how we can keep her memory alive." That evening, I sat at my kitchen table poring over notes, a cascade of memories from my childhood spilling into my thoughts. I imagined Evelyn's story interwoven with mine, a testament to the endurance of the human spirit wrapped in the fabric of time. The sun set slowly, painting the room in warm hues as shadows danced across the walls, a reminder that stories refuse to vanish in the darkness. They evolve, taking shape in unexpected ways. The day of the interview arrived, and I drove to the newspaper office, guided by an exhilarating mix of fear and determination. As I walked through the bustling city streets, I could hear the echoes of laughter intermingling with songs from the past, threads of history interwoven with the present beating like a pulse. It felt as though the walls themselves were eager to share their memories. Inside the red brick office, the atmosphere was electric, and the editor, a vibrant woman named Maya, greeted me with a genuine smile, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "This is so exciting. I can't wait to hear your story," she bubbled. As we settled into a cozy corner with mugs of steaming tea, I took a deep breath, drawing strength from the gathering energy. "I truly believe what we've uncovered is more than just Evelyn's story," I began, letting my words flow freely. Each revelation felt like a thread in a grand tapestry, weaving together lives and histories, pain and healing. It's about understanding our roots and honoring the lives that shaped our community. Maya leaned forward, captivated. "And how has the healing process influenced your life? What have you experienced during this journey?" My heart swelled as I began to share. At first, it felt daunting, this responsibility to uncover the truth. But now I realize that it's not just about me or even Evelyn. It's about every person who has carried their own stories. When we come together, connecting our narratives, they weave a narrative powerful enough to heal old wounds. As I spoke, I felt Evelyn's spirit flutter around the room, her whispers of encouragement wrapping around my words like a gentle embrace. "They sense your passion," Maya remarked, her eyes wide with understanding. "Your journey resonates with so many people. It offers hope in times of despair." Just then, I felt the vibrations of my phone in my pocket, a reminder of the interview reminder and the gathering planned for the upcoming weekend. I hesitated for a moment before pulling out my phone, looking at the date looming ahead. Our first public memorial event is coming up soon. I know we still have so much work to do. Maya nodded knowingly. "You'll need a solid plan to make an impact and create the momentum you seek. Are you ready to share? I nodded, feeling the energy encompass me again. Yes, it's time for us to unearth the stories hidden beneath this soil and reveal their truths. We talked and planned for what felt like hours, crafting the narrative arc for the public memorial event. Maya suggested inviting guest speakers to read portions of stories people sent in, to intersperse these accounts with local music, even allowing room for community members to share their connections openly. A celebration of remembrance, she exclaimed, her excitement contagious. This will not only honor those we've lost, but also create a ripple effect that speaks to the very essence of your project, reclaiming loss and transforming it into something beautiful. When it was finally time to leave, my heart swelled with gratitude and anticipation. Thank you, Maya. I can't tell you how much I needed this, I said sincerely. Just keep that fire alive, she urged, her smile radiant. You've sparked something profound. As I walked out of the office, my head spinning with possibilities, I felt a sudden gust of wind waft through the streets, nearly lifting me off my feet, as if the very breath of past spirits was guiding me forward. Leading up to the Memorial Weekend, we worked tirelessly. Flyers were printed, stories compiled, and sheaves of handwritten letters displayed. Each night, I drifted to sleep with thoughts of Evelyn as her whispers of gratitude echoed in my subconscious. Then the day arrived. The sun shone brightly in a brilliant blue sky, and the scent of fresh earth and wildflowers filled the air. My heart raced as I set up chairs around the old oak tree in our town square, the site that had become a symbol of growth and remembrance. As our community gathered, I took a moment to reflect on how far we had come, how one person's pain had transformed into a collective voice longing to be heard. My son, naturally fearless, dashed around greeting familiar faces, weaving through the crowd with innocence that reminded me why we were here, to shed light on lost lives and rebirth through storytelling. Welcome, everyone, I announced as I took my place in front of the gathered crowd, seeing friends, family, and neighbors alike whose faces glowed with expectancy. Today, we engage not just in remembrance, but in celebration of the stories that connect our lives across time. We stand here beneath the watchful oak tree at the heart of our town to reconnect with those who have shaped us. These past lives echo through our hearts, and together we shall illuminate their paths with our words. As various people took turns sharing their contributions, I felt the shadows around us, vibrant and alive. They danced in the light like memories being shared, intertwining voices harmonizing in a growing melody of stories. When my turn finally came, I clutched the locket tightly. This locket holds not just Evelyn's memory, but becomes our symbol of unity, of grief transformed into remembrance. I could feel the collective anticipation build. What we've achieved together is more than recognition. It's the legacy that will endure. In the light of our shared grief, we rediscover hope. Tears glistened in many eyes as we ended the gathering, each person taking a moment to write a note or add a flower beneath the oak tree, an act of love, confession, and healing. Humbled and content, I watched as my son knelt beneath the tree, placing vibrant wildflowers gently onto the earth, a smile lighting his face with the pure innocence of witnessing a community reconnecting with its past. As dusk began to settle, I took one last look around at the community united. The shadows were no longer reminders of sorrow, but rather symbols of connection, the essence of lives intertwined. And with the love echoing through our town, I felt the grounding presence of Evelyn, knowing she was finally at rest. With our hearts and spirits intertwined, we had not just reclaimed lost stories, but navigated through darkness and into light, a beacon for generations yet to come. What once haunted us became a healing force, reminding us that through unity and courage, We are always joined in the dance of memory and hope. The weeks that followed the memorial gathering wove their own magic over our town, the afterglow of our shared stories creating bonds that felt palpable. I noticed more people walking the streets with a renewed sense of purpose, eyes bright with understanding and connection. Coffee shops buzzed with discussions of family histories, while children played beneath the old oak tree where we had gathered, making it a living tribute to our shared past. The locket dangled from my neck, my anchor and my guide, reminding me of the promise I had made to Evelyn. As I went about my daily routine, it felt like an invitation to explore more of those silenced voices, to delve deeper into the stories waiting to be uncovered. One afternoon, curiosity led me to the town library again. I would search through the archives to find anything more I could about the lost stories all around us. As I turned the corner into the history section, I saw a familiar figure seated at a table, a local historian named Mr. Harris, whom I admired for his intricate knowledge of our town's past. He was hunched over a collection of old newspapers, his brow furrowed in concentration. "Mr. Harris," I said, making my way over, the rustling of papers calling out to me as he looked up. "Ah, just the person I wanted to see," he exclaimed, beaming. "Your community project has stirred a renewed interest in our town's history. I received numerous requests for more information about the mining accidents from decades past." "Really?" I asked, intrigued. "What did you find?" He spread out several articles before me. These were published shortly after the tragedies, detailing the lives of those who were lost, including Evelyn's brother, Thomas. It seems he was not only a miner, but also an advocate for worker rights. He was pushing for regulations to improve safety conditions shortly before the incident. My heart raced as I skimmed over the words printed on the brittle paper, each sentence slicing through the years of silence that had surrounded their lives. Thomas was a voice against the darkness that surrounded them, fighting for the very lives of those who worked in the mines, I reflected. Mr. Harris nodded gravely. He and a small group of miners held a meeting the evening before the accident to discuss their concerns about safety practices. They believed change was possible, but the following day, tragedy struck with devastating consequences. As I absorbed the information, I felt an overwhelming urge to do something more, not just remember Evelyn and Thomas, but to honor their fight. This cannot be the end. They deserve recognition for their work and lives. Mr. Harris looked thoughtful, stroking his chin. "You could write a piece, perhaps arrange for a commemorative plaque, or even a segment in the upcoming town festival. We should acknowledge them, not just in memory, but as part of our heritage." His suggestion ignited a fire in my soul. A call to action resonated within me. Yes, a festival that not only celebrates our community, but acknowledges the struggles faced and the voices that fought against injustice. We spent hours brainstorming together. As I jotted down notes, ideas flowed freely. We envisioned a week-long event where families could share their stories, engage with local history, and honor the spirits who had shaped our town. I wanted to breathe life into their narratives, share the truths that had been buried with the shadows. A week later came the festival's unveiling. A swirl of excitement and anticipation hovered over the town as the preparations unfolded. Everything from the food stalls to historical displays was vibrant and rich with stories waiting to be discovered. I could feel Evelyn urging me forward, guiding my steps toward a purpose greater than myself. On opening day, I stood on the makeshift stage, looking over a crowd of familiar faces, families, friends, and neighbors who had come together, united in celebration and remembrance. Thank you all for being here. Today we honor those lost beneath the shadows, those like Evelyn and Thomas who stood tall in the face of adversity and fought for what they believed in. My voice rang over the crowd, fueled by passion and purpose. As various speakers took their turns to share tales, the energy grew palpable. The air filled with stories of struggle and of hope intertwined. I watched as children listened intently, the history weaving its intricate patterns around their hearts and minds. Interspersed among the speeches were artistic performances. Dancers fluidly embodied the spirit of resilience. Painters captured the essence of the moment. Musicians strummed melodies of sorrow and joy in harmonic convergence. "Let's not forget our roots," I urged, my voice steady as I closed the event, summoning the gathering spirit to wrap us all in connection. The darkness may speak of loss, but together we have illuminated our past, binding our journey, reminding us that every soul has a story deserving to be told. Waving goodbye to the crowd, I felt a wave of fulfillment wash over me. The rituals we created had worked. New bonds had formed, igniting passions within our hearts and minds. Yet, the festival was not just a remembrance of the past. It had opened the door for more discovery. Afterward, I saw a familiar face standing to the side, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes and an understanding smile. "Hi, I'm Ruth," she introduced herself and gestured welcomingly. "I was Thomas's childhood friend. It's wonderful to see you honoring his memory." I felt warmth spread as she spoke, a recognition of the ties that bind us beyond time. "Thank you. I learned so much about him from the articles, but there's still more to uncover. Would you share your memories?" With tears glistening in her eyes, she shared her cherished remembrances of his bold spirit, stories of laughter, dreams of a better life, and how even in his youth, he showed determination to fight for what was right. "I always knew he'd do something important," she said softly, her gaze distant. There was fire in his heart. It wasn't just about the mines. It was about standing up for the families, the ones who deserved better. As she spoke, every word resonated deep within me. "Would you be willing to contribute to our project? Perhaps share a piece of his story for future generations?" "Oh, absolutely," she responded, her smile soft with resolve. "He deserves to be remembered just as he lived." Days turned into weeks, and groundwork was laid. Ruth became a vital part of the collective storytelling initiative. I watched as the gentle whispers of the past began to revive, illuminating corners once lost to the darkness. More voices joined us, women and men eager to share their familial ties to the mining past. Their struggles and triumphs echoed through the town hall. Each story was a thread in the intricate tapestry of our community's past, weaving together forgotten lives and dreams yet unfulfilled. With each gathering, I realized how Evelyn and Thomas's memory had not only healed a community, but created a legacy of resilience. We were no longer a town held captive by sorrow. We had become a home filled with hearts united by the shared experience that transcended generations. The shadows of our past no longer lurked silently, but danced vibrantly alongside us. The laughter and love bonded us while we continued honoring the stories buried beneath the earth, enriching our present and promising a future filled with compassion and understanding. At the end of it all, I could feel Evelyn and Thomas by my side, witnessing the rebirth of something far more beautiful than I could have ever imagined. Together, we were no longer walking alone. Rather, we carried the colors of our history into the light, a promise that no story would ever be forgotten again. As the seasons changed, so too did the pulse of our community. The stories we had pieced together formed not merely a legacy, but a tapestry woven with threads of hope, resilience, and a deep-rooted understanding of our shared humanity. Each month, we gathered in the town hall, with Ruth often leading discussions, her enthusiasm inspiring others to recall lifetimes of memories, each sweet and bitter stitch contributing to the narrative of our past. The town festival, which had initially been a single event, transformed into an annual tradition, a time we set aside each year to honor those who had shaped our destinies. It had brought us together, shining light on the forgotten, the lost, and the marginalized, and it became a celebration of unity in diversity. During one of those gatherings, I noted a change in the atmosphere. There was a palpable energy swirling in the air, an electric anticipation as evening drew near. I watched as my friends and neighbors shared their stories under the soft glow of string lights draped around the hall, but there was a heaviness left unspoken, a yearning for something deeper. I stepped up to the microphone, clutching the locket, which had become a steadfast symbol not only of my promise to Evelyn, but of the countless untold stories still craving the light of understanding. Tonight, as we honor our past, I want to invite us to listen closely to not just the voices of those who fought, but also to those echoes of spirits still seeking resolution, I announced, my heart racing. Ruth took her place next to me, nodding thoughtfully. It's crucial to remember that their struggles are linked to ours. We stand on their shoulders, and their dreams for a better future continue through us, she added, her gaze compelling every listener to reflect. At that moment, I sensed a stirring within the crowd, a willingness to expand the narrative. Let's celebrate those spirits. Let's honor them by sharing how their courage has inspired us to advocate for change, to fight the shadows that still loom in our lives, and to honor the memories of those who may still be striving for peace. A hush fell over the room before a brave woman by the name of Eliza rose to speak. My grandfather worked in the mines beside Thomas, she started, her voice resonating with quiet strength. He often spoke of the dangers they faced, but also of the bond they shared as they fought for better conditions. He instilled in me the importance of standing up for justice, and I've carried that flame into my adult life. Her story ignited more voices, each revealing connections not just to the past, but to the present. Women and men shared how their ancestors had stood up against injustice, showing courage in ways that had shaped their paths in life. Tears filled my eyes as I realized how richly our community had woven resilience into our very fabric, proving time and time again that the courage of one could inspire the lives of many. The night stretched on, stories flowing like the river coursing through our town, a continuous cycle of pain and healing, remembrance and hope. We laughed, we cried, but most importantly, we connected. As the final echoes of laughter filled the hall, I could feel an almost tangible presence resonate within the space, a living testament to the love and light of those we honored. And as I turned to thank everyone for participating, I knew in my heart that Evelyn and Thomas watched over us, proud of what we had accomplished together. "Remember this feeling," I said softly, capturing their attention. "This unity we formed, let it be the foundation upon which we continue to build." The applause that erupted was not just a response to our gathering, but a celebration of our renewed purpose. A promise that our community would remember, support, and continue the legacy of those who walked before us. Months later, I stood beneath the oak tree, a breeze weaving through the canopy above, gently rustling the leaves. The branches of the tree seemed to stretch toward the heavens, a reminder of the strength hidden within our roots. Beside me, my son, now a bit taller and more confident, gazed up into the foliage. "Mom, do you think they're watching?" he asked, his eyes twinkling with curiosity. I smiled down at him, my heart swelling with love. I believe they are. Every time we share their stories, we keep their spirits alive. In that moment, I understood the profound nature of our collective legacy. We would forever be intertwined with those we had lost and those who fought valiantly against the shadows. The light from our shared memories would continue to illuminate our paths forward, ensuring no one was ever silenced again. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting hues of orange and purple across the sky, I knew we had created a sanctuary for the spirits. Together, we had forged an unbreakable bond, a community united not only by history, but also by love, compassion, and a relentless pursuit of justice. And in doing so, we had transformed our town into a beacon of hope, a living testament to the truth that echoed through every life and story yet to be told. We had not merely reclaimed lost stories, we had built bridges across the past, present, and future, a reminder that together we are stronger than the shadows that once consumed us.